Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Jim.
And we are the 2024 winners of International Living Magazine's Test Drive Your Retirement Overseas contest.
We're getting ready to hop a plane and to fly to Costa Rica, where we'll spend a month trying to live like expats and seeing what it would be like.
And you're going to come along with us because we're going to be posting videos and stories as we go along. So I hope you'll follow our journey as we do this.
We're getting ready to turn the keys over to the cat sitter and hop on the flight, and we're off to Costa Rica.
I hope you'll join us. We also have a travel channel called Travels with Amy and Jim, and I hope you'll join us there. I'm here talking a little bit about our packing process as we're getting ready to do the Test Drive Your Retirement Overseas contest in Costa Rica for International Living. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because we've never been on a trip of 30 days before, much less to a tropical country. So it really did take some thought and a lot of reading online between Facebook groups and other advice to see what we needed to take. Now, we're pretty light travelers. Generally, we travel in these two roller bags and these two backpacks on our normal trips, and that's all we need. But in this case, we decided for 30 days and some of the special items we needed, we are going to be checking a separate bag with some special items. I just kind of wanted to talk about a couple of them and some of our thought processes as we were deciding to travel. Number one, we have to plan for rain. We are going to be there, still going to be part of the rainy season. So we've got rain hats that we've waterproofed. We've got our rain jackets, and it is always good to have some kind of closed-toed sandals when you're going to Costa Rica because some places really require that. We always take a money belt, and then we also have some new bags that we really like. We used in our last trip that are sling bags that are really helpful. You can wear all the time and under a coat for protection, and holds your cell phone right there. It's really was a great bag. Moving on a little bit, we heard on a travel site. This is great for a cruise. This is great for Europe. There are never enough plugs in any room that you're at. So this one has an American and South American plug. We also have another one with a European plug. It was a real lifesaver on our last trip. Never forget your phrase book. That's always good. And we also have a little bag for all of our electronic cords. You gotta charge everything, right? We always get some local money when we go. So we've got some colones ready to go. And I don't know about you, but I really love to pack in cubes. So everything that I do is packed in cubes as far as our clothing. We have a couple of special items. Number one, we think we may do some whitewater rafting, other things where we might want to keep our cell phone dry. We have some items from our doctor, actually, which is a little bit of antibiotic and some probiotics and some other items that she thought we might want. So we'd not normally travel with that, but you want to make sure you're prepared in case you get ill while you're traveling. We also have some laundry supplies, and we've heard and we know from Airbnb type of apartments that they have terrible knives and cutting boards. So we're going to take a couple of our own really tiny cutting boards, and we actually have a chef knife packed, but we understand that it will go through security so long as it's checked. So we're hoping that works out good. The other thing that we've been working on is everybody says that you need to bring your own bug spray. Different parts of the country have more mosquitoes than others, but you want to make sure you've got bug spray, and we're going to use a lot over 30 days. Do check the TSA requirements. As we understand it, we can take up to 70 ounces per person is what it says in our checked bags. So we're hoping that that works out well. We've got some snacks. And then, as I said, also planning for rain, we have these that go over our backpacks. So even though we've waterproofed our backpacks, these are rubbery. You know, if you're out and you're wet, you don't want everything that you own to be wet as well. So that's kind of a summary of some of the special stuff we've got. Shoes. I have a lot of shoes, but I plan to leave some of them behind when I'm done. So it's just one of those things you want to make sure that you've kind of thought everything through. Hello from La Fortuna. We are in the main square here and it is a beautiful day in Costa Rica.
It is. We've been out to Mystico, hanging bridges. We enjoyed that walk, and then we stopped for an acai bowl here in downtown.
Yeah, it is just a beautiful little town square, really common in a lot of these Costa Rican towns, with a church and some green square, and everybody comes here and eats their lunch and hangs out. It's not raining, so we're happy. Another beautiful day in Costa Rica. This is the square in La Fortuna. It is a really beautiful square with running water and a very good, beautiful local church on the square. We have just had some acai bowls and we're walking around. It's all good. Another beautiful day in Costa Rica. We are here in beautiful La Fortuna. You should be able to see a volcano behind us. We have seen it over the several days that we've been here, but this morning it is obscured, which is pretty common.
Pretty common.
This is Arenal volcano here in La Fortuna. It's a big tourist location. We have spent the last 48 hours or so here. We were here in January, so we already kind of knew what we wanted to do again because it was such a great place. And we just wanted to share a little bit with you about some of the activities that we did here because they really are pretty awesome.
Our first night here, we visited a cooking class called Fogon de Cella. And Fogon, fire, and Cella was the name of our hostess. So it was billed as a 2-hour cooking class. We ended up spending 3.5 hours, which is kind of the way we roll. We cooked 8 things over a wood-fired stove. Cella was leading us,
Yeah.
and it was an amazing visit. We ate pork and chicken and fish, and we made empanadas, ceviche, fried plantains, patacones, and a spinach patty or fritter.
Yeah. And we made all of those things with another couple from Switzerland. They are early retirees here, and they have opened a hotel in the town of Cartago. So we had a really great time talking to them, and hope we actually connect with them later. And it was an open air um, restaurant cooking area, and it was raining so hard. I have a lot of videos. I'm not sure you can hear anything we say because the rain was so loud. But she was really great. She had a lot of stories to talk about her community, which is actually called San Francisco. It's a small rural community and all the things that she does for that community. So we really had a great time with her. And I think we did learn a lot of cooking tips as far as authentic Costa Rican cooking from her grandmother's recipes. So, highly recommend that as a cooking class if you are in the area. We then hit about 20 minutes down the road as Mystico Hanging Bridges, which is a don't miss item here in La Fortuna. We had done it in January when we were here before and knew that we wanted to do it again. Our biggest tip there is do it with a guide. The first time we didn't, and this time we knew that we wanted a guide, and we had a 2.5 hour, it turned out to be a private tour. The guides here are licensed and educated about all of the animals and fauna and insects and everything that you're going to see along the way, and you just get a whole lot of information. You can ask a lot of questions, and it's just a really wonderful trip. The hanging bridges are not too scary. I know some people might be afraid of them, but you really are getting an opportunity to see nature from the top of the treetops, and it's pretty amazing.
I don't love heights, but I had no problems with these.
Yeah.
The sides of the bridges are wrapped with fencing, and there's no chance of falling off.
Yeah. They do bounce a little, but it's okay. We did get again, every nature hike, you never know what you're going to see, and that's kind of the neat part of Costa Rica. They're not zoos, so our guides are really good about sort of knowing where to look to find certain things that you would never find on your own. but you're also not guaranteed to see anything. We did get to see a couple things on this Mystico hike that we had not seen before and that are somewhat unusual. We got to see spider monkeys and howler monkeys, and they're way up in the treetops. So that was pretty cool. And we were able to watch them for a while. We saw a tarantula and we saw 3 different kinds of snakes. So those were kind of the highlights, but also, again, a lot of knowledge about, hey, what's that flower? Or, how does this work? And it just really gives you that background so that when you're then out on your own and hiking and looking at things, you really have a better understanding of what you're looking at. It also was, again, we went on a 9 o'clock walk and we managed to finish it before the rain started. And it was a good, beautiful day to see the volcano. So we were very lucky. It is just kind of hit and miss. We are here at Manuel Antonio National Park.
And it's not raining.
And it's not raining. We were here 2 weeks ago in the midst of the worst rain they'd had in 20 years. So we're pretty excited to be here again. I'm going to turn around here and you can see the ocean. We're on the Pacific side right now, and behind me is Manuel Antonio National Park. And right now we are on a public beach. You can see there are a bunch of cabanas and surfboards and chairs and that type of thing. This morning we left Atenas at about 8 o'clock. We got to Manuel Antonio. It said 2 hours, it took 4. But we got here in time to get into the park at 12 o'clock. We hired a guide named David who was very helpful, and we found some of the animals we had not yet seen. And he was great. And we ended up leaving Manuel Antonio, which does have beautiful beaches, but we are now just on the public beach, and we've got about 2 hours here before it is sunset, because the sun sets between 5 and 6, and it's about 3 o'clock right now. So, welcome to the beach, welcome to the Pacific, and it's not raining. We are walking on the Jaguar Trail in the Tortuguera National Park, and we have been looking for some animals here in the rainforest. We don't have a guide this time, so we are probably missing some animals, but we've been on a lot of other guided tours, so we're trying to look for things like iguanas. I think that's an eagle or a hawk that's just flown up.
We have finished up a month of traveling in Costa Rica and living in Costa Rica and trying to get an experience that would be similar to our retirement if we were to come to Costa Rica.
Yeah, we want to thank International Living Magazine for the opportunity to spend 30 days in Costa Rica. It's just an amazing experience, and certainly a trip of a lifetime for us. We have had the opportunity to experience a lot of different things while we're here, and we're trying intentionally to think about what it would be like to retire here.
So we've just finished up 3 days on the west coast of Costa Rica, on the southwest Pacific side. We've been staying in a little bit nicer places, well, a lot nicer places than some of the places, and trying to experience, really take a vacation from our vacation in some swanky places.
We've actually we've got a bunch of birds going by. Parakeets, parrots, macaws, kiskadees. We've had all kinds of birds here. We have been on this Pacific coast partially because this is one of the most popular places for people to visit as tourists, and we can certainly see why. There is one main highway that goes down the coast.
It's a good highway for driving. Thank you very much. It's
a great highway, and off of just about 1 kilometer off of that road, you're at the beach. So it is the Pacific Ocean, big, wide beaches, and many of them where we are today in Espadilla Este is completely empty. There's not a soul on the beach, and it is the biggest, widest beach I've ever seen. So if you're looking for what people I think imagine is a tropical paradise. Like we have it right here, and it's not something we always look for, but it is just really an amazing thing to do and for us to experience. We've actually been to 3 different locations here on the southern coast. We started out near Manuel Antonio because we missed it the first time. The national park was closed due to rain about 2 weeks ago, so we said, well, we got to come back. And we stayed at a hotel there that had its own zip line attached, beautiful pool, lots of animals there, so that was great. We then went a little bit further down the coast to Uvita, where we stayed at the top of a mountain, looking out over what's called the Whale Tail, Merino Ballena National Park. And Uvita is known for its surfing, so it was a beautiful spot as well. And now we are on our way back up north. We are a little bit south of Yaco, which is one of the major tourist destinations. But as I said, we are here, and there are a few places to stay along here, but they are just really, really quiet. There are also a number of private homes along this beach, and I can certainly see why people who are looking for tropical paradise would find it right here.
Yeah, the beaches here on the beaches here on the southwest side are just absolutely beautiful. Some of them are touristy. Some of them have, the feel of a quiet Daytona Beach, but some of them are absolutely empty, like the one behind us. We walked for an hour each way and maybe passed half a dozen people.
Yeah, we got the thing about Costa Rica is you're early up and you're early to bed, because the sun comes up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and the sun goes down at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And it feels like midnight at 6 o'clock. We'll look at our watch and go, it's only 7 o'clock. But that's what the Costa Ricans do. They go to bed early and they get up really early. And I found that although it's hard for me to get up at home, I was up this morning at 6:15 and I heard the birds outside and I said, I want to go see the birds. So it is a really wonderful way to wake up in the morning and to just experience life. So I wanted to talk a minute about our travels since we've been here. We decided to get an apartment in the middle of the country in the Central Valley. One reason for that is where a lot of expats have settled, in Atenas and Grecia and some other surrounding communities. And there are a couple reasons for that are really obvious, I think. It's very close to healthcare in San Jose. It's very close to the airport, 30 minutes to an hour from most of those places. It has affordable housing, and it is in the mountains, which means that although we hear it can get up to 90, most of the time there's no air conditioning and no heat. Any place that we've been in the Central Valley, because you just don't need it. It is pretty much 72 to 82 year round, and the mountain breezes are just beautiful. So a lot of folks really like that area because of those amenities that they're looking for in retirement.
And there are a lot of expats around there. You can build a social circle. You can find friends, both expat and Tico, in those areas, and that really made a big difference to us while we were there. Was starting to make connections with expat community, as well as the Ticos that we met along the way. That really made it feel a whole lot more like home.
Yeah, we are in a number of Facebook groups. Facebook groups are really the biggest way that people communicate here. And there are a couple of women's groups in Atenas that I joined and was welcomed in very, very quickly. It was nice. There's a Tuesday morning group, a Wednesday morning group, and a Thursday morning group. And I got to the Tuesday and the Thursday groups, which had different folks in them, and was able to really get to know them. And
I found that the Lions Club meets on Monday nights in Atenas. I don't know whether it's an English-speaking group or a Tico group, but if our plans had allowed it, I would have attended a meeting.
Yeah, you've been a Lion for 30 years,
yeah.
So it was just it was really nice. Again, when you're first moving, you kind of want a little sense of home, and you have a lot of questions, like where should I live? how much should I be paying? How do I hire somebody to do something? How do I get a bank account? How do I apply for residency or visas?
How do I get on the CAHA?
How do you get on CAHA, which is the health insurance program here? So in your English-speaking groups, those are the folks who really have a lot of those answers. But they also talked about the ones who were the happiest said, it's my Tico friends. If I wanted to only talk to expats, I could have stayed home. So some of them have really chosen to immerse themselves into Tico neighborhoods, and I think that that's really important. Now, there are lots of gated communities which have a lot of expats and Ticos in them. Those are going to be the more expensive places to live, but they are very nice. You're going to find the kind of standards that you're used to in a condo or a home that you find in any Western culture. Tico houses are a little bit more basic, and there are lots of those for rent as well, and those are probably going to be on the cheaper end of what you find in Central Valley.
So we met a lot of people who live on a very modest income. We've met people who are living on $1,200 a month, $1,400 a month, really living within their Social Security means as retirees in Costa Rica.
And again, it is really possible to do that. Now, I would have to say, I think I'd have to work a little bit at it. The cost of food is pretty high here, and there's a lot of complaints about the cost of housing. And of course, there's the cost of healthcare, but when you compare those to U.S. cities, you're going to have a big discount. So I think when people say it's cheap, I wouldn't say that it's cheap. I would say that it is less money than probably living in retirement in the U.S.
I would agree.
Yeah. So I think that that's an important point for people to understand. Eating out has not been significantly cheaper.
No, we typically spend $30 every time we eat out. Sometime last night we ate for $50, but we had a pretty special meal.
Right. And a lot of times, actually, the portions are really large. So most of the time, we were saving money by just sharing a main dish, but that was more than enough. So that was a great way to save money as well, in that you just don't really need that much food. And when we're traveling, we don't, of course, always have the ability for leftovers. We did like having our own apartment and having a refrigerator that we could put things in and do a little bit of basic cooking at home and not completely reliant on restaurants.
So from Atenas, we took a couple of long weekend trips. One of them that long weekend turned into a full week. But we took some weekend trips because we wanted to know, what could you do within a weekend of Atenas as a retiree?
Yeah. So here you're going to use Waze or Google Maps. Waze is really better for Costa Rica as a driving app. So absolutely use Waze because it tells you when there's a lot of stops or standstill traffic or something in the road. It's just a much more accurate map. But it would tell us that it would be 3 to 4 hours to get to someplace. And I would say, well, mark that time. And a couple of times it was a good 2 hours past that. But we were looking for day trips. So our first week, we went up to the northwest coast of La Fortuna, which is everybody who comes to Costa Rica goes to La Fortuna, and I would agree. I go back to La Fortuna every time we come, for sure.
It wasn't on the coast, but it was northwest from Atenas, right, by a couple hours.
It is in the mountains in the northwest in Guanacaste, so it's a good place. So we did that. We did some things with our son and his girlfriend. The second week, we then went southwest down towards Manuel Antonio Park. That is the week in which there was just an awful lot of rain and the park was closed. But we did have a great time. We had capuchin monkeys on our balcony. We
saw scarlet macaws from above.
And we also were able to do a chocolate and coffee tour. We did get on the beach, and we did a wonderful night hike. So we were still, despite the rain, that's the message about Costa Rica. It's gonna rain, but you have to just be ready for that. And most of the time, we have been told that the rain we've experienced every single Tico we've met here and every single expat says this was not normal. So we recognize that. But rainy season, you are going to expect it to rain. So we did manage to have a really great time in Capos in the Manuel Antonio area. We came back home. And we had another two guests who were couple that was gonna join us, and because of the rain forecast, they decided not to come. And we suddenly looked at the rest of our time, and we were like, we have like 2 entire weeks in which we have nothing planned. We have no obligations, and I don't think ever in our lives that's ever happened. We're involved in so many things at home. So I said, let's take advantage of it. And so we decided to go down then to the southeast coast into the town of Cujita.
On the Caribbean Sea.
On the Caribbean Sea,
yeah.
And near Puerto Viejo. And both of those are really wonderful destinations. That is about, I think it said 4 hours and it took 6 to get there, so plan a whole day. But it was absolutely worth it. And once we got there, it was a beautiful Caribbean destination. So we really, really liked that and liked it so much that we stayed an extra day. And then we decided, hey, we're on the Caribbean side. It takes a long time to get here.
We're retired.
We don't have any obligations. So we booked a couple of nights then on the northeast coast, which is Tortuguero National Park. And it is just a really unusual, special place.
Right, so you can't get there by driving. You drive up to a boat dock and you hop on a water taxi that takes you 45 minutes or an hour to the town of Tortuguero. The town of Tortuguero is just a small little sliver on a small sliver of a sandbar that separates the estuary, the river, from the Caribbean Sea. And that's where the 4 different kinds of turtles come up to nest. And then that happens in the early fall, and then 6 weeks later, which is the time that we were there, the hatchlings are supposed to come out and scramble to the sea.
Yeah, well, we looked for 2 nights. When they told us, we didn't see them. But it is really an experience to see, and it's a really special place. Again, you're not going to find anywhere else like that. So I'm just really glad that we took the time to go see a place that was that remote. We did go kayaking into the mangroves to see some of the wildlife there. It was raining, but there was a lot of water due to accumulation of rain, so there wasn't a lot of land for us to see crocodiles. But at the same time, it was just it's a magical experience to go there. So it is remote. It takes a long time. They do have, I would recommend for anybody who wants to go there, we were coming from a different direction, but if you are coming from San Jose Airport, they have a full package tour that includes absolutely everything. It includes your food, land transportation, water transportation, and all of your tours while you're there. And I would recommend a 2-night, 3-day tour to Tortuguero from the San Jose Airport in a minute. It is a really special experience, and that package would make it really easy.
You certainly don't retire there, but it was a great place to spend a couple of days as a day trip, a weekend trip, even from the Central Valley.
Yeah. And so then we came back to Atenas with really dirty clothes. We were really glad that we had a home base in which we could spend a little bit of time regrouping. And then we realized we're on our last week. We got to go do something. So we came back down here to the southwest coast and have spent these 3 days here. I wanted to mention we are staying nicer places than we usually do, and the reason is I have literally traveled so much with Booking.com that I am now getting a bunch of their deals. So this resort we're in right now, we got a room upgrade, we got free breakfast, and we're here for $89 for a night. So you just really can't beat that. Our other place where we did the zip lining, also free breakfast and room upgrade, and beautiful spot was $69 a night. So using the deals that you can find, there are a lot of them. Particularly, we're on the cusp right now between rainy season and high season. December is when it starts to get hot, And so December and January are hot and dry pretty much at least through March or April. Their seasons are opposite of ours, which is what makes it a great place. We have met so many Canadians here, so many Canadians, because they are all ready to avoid the winter in Canada. And a lot of folks do come for 2, 3, 4, 5 months at a time so that they're doing those kinds of vacations. A visa here is 180 days, so you can stay for up to that time without having to do what's called a border run. A border run is basically you've got to cross over into some other country. It can even be just for an hour, and then come right back in and start your 180-day clock over again. So folks who stay here long term who don't have residency, there are even places I hear at the Nicaraguan border and the Panamanian border where you just, they have border runs, and they have a whole system of doing it. So you just process out and process back in and then come back home.
Right. So we've encountered people who are living the dream here in Costa Rica. We've encountered people who come for the winter to escape the terrible weather up north. And we've encountered people who are living here full time because they didn't want to live in the United States, or they couldn't afford to live in the United States, or they just wanted something different. Really, the one key is that you do need to learn Spanish. You do need to have some level of proficiency with the language. There are a lot of people who speak English, and you can get around just fine around the tourist areas when you're only speaking English. But if you're going to want to travel and mix and develop a life here, you're going to need to learn the language.
The other piece, the biggest piece of advice that we get from all expats, I see this online and I've heard this from the expats here. Some people will say, I was there on vacation, I loved it, I packed up at home and I moved, or they even move here sight unseen. I would, having shopped for apartments ahead of time, I would definitely come down here in Airbnb, get a reasonable rate for a month or two, and get the lay of the land. There are so many different there are microclimates all throughout the country, and what's right for you is not right for someone else. So again, this beach where we're at right now is very cool and beautiful, but it's December 2nd, and in January, February, March, I'm sure it is blazing hot.
And humid.
And it's humid all the time. So that may not be for you. That is not, I mean, we're enjoying vacationing here. We were saying we can imagine ourselves vacationing here. This is great, but that is not where I would want to live. They do have air conditioning here as a standard, and that is nice, but my goal in life is to not need air conditioning. In the Central Valley, however, as I said, there's no air conditioning or heat needed. And so that is something that was really cool. We talked to 2 women, they were sisters, and one lives in Atenas and one lives in Grecia, about 20 minutes away. They're both in the mountains. The one sister, they lived together in Atenas, and the one sister said, hey, it's just too hot for me here. So she went a little bit higher elevation, 20 minutes away in Grecia, and she's happy there. So it is all about, what are you looking for? Do you want something really, really remote, where you are, completely on your own, 15 minutes from anything? That's absolutely possible. Or do you want to kind of be, very close to the amenities, shopping, restaurants, medical care?
People,
right. So that's why a lot of people do like the southern coast. You can touch the beginning of the southern coast about 2 hours from the airport. And a lot of folks do just come directly from the airport down the southern coast, 2 to 3 hours, and you are at the beach. We're looking at our last sunset in Costa Rica.
It's been an amazing 30 days. We've had a ball, but all good things come to an end.
I just want to give a thank you to International Living from us. We have just been so grateful to them for choosing us as the winners of Test Drive Your Retirement Overseas for 30 days in Costa Rica. We are just really excited to be here, and what an adventure it's been.
And we'll have more reflections a little bit later, but at this point we're just enjoying the end of our time here. Thanks, IL.
Thank you, IL. We appreciate you.